Well, it's my first hike in a really long time in Colorado, attempting West Spanish Peak here, hiking with Trey, who I met at the trailhead. So it's a pretty easy hike so far, but a little birdie told me that it gets a lot harder once you get to tree line, as you can see. Well, nothing exciting. We're just switching up below tree line. Sorry, switchbacking up below tree line, but we just got to a trail intersection and keep on moving. Probably gone what, like maybe a mile?
Yeah, ish.
So we're almost above tree line. You can see it's probably like, I don't know, 100 yards. We've got this awesome 45-degree climb ahead of us, which will be fun. But so out there, I think I want to say the range to the left is Culebra Peak, which is the southernmost 14er.
Right. So I'm guessing that one's Culebra there.
I think to the far left.
Far left.
Yeah, right center of the screen. If you're watching this, back there in the distance, I think that's Little Costilla Peak in New Mexico. I want to say this is Trinchera. Right in I think that's the one maybe you were pointing at before. And then moving to the left, you got some other peaks. Quattro Peak, I think, is the tallest one, and then Maxwell and Beaubien. And then that behemoth right there is Blanca and all the other kind of like lesser 14ers in that group. See the Creststones, maybe Kit Carson Peak to the right. I'm not totally sure. I'm not sure what that shorter like nub is, but pretty cool view. We saw down there, that's Culebra Peak, which is the furthest south 14er in Colorado, and one of the few private 14ers that you can still climb. You can see that's Little Costilla Peak in New Mexico in the Valle Vidal. And then, this is pretty cool, I didn't expect, I mean I guess I should have known because I could see it from Baldy. And that's Baldy Mountain right there, and then to the left of it, I'm pretty sure that's Touch Me Not Mountain, which are both 12ers. And Baldy Mountain, I summited that last September, and that's the tallest peak on the Philmont Scout Ranch, Boy Scout Ranch. And then way back there, it could be the Wheeler group. I think it might be the Latchier group though. Some nice views. Normally I'm looking north from New Mexico into Colorado, but this time I'm looking south into New Mexico from Colorado. We haven't gone up very far. So you see we made it up, I don't know, probably 300 feet or so. I'd call it, I mean, I don't know, I'd call it class 1, but definitely a little sketchy in terms of just the footing. Not bad in general though. I mean, this is the closest thing to class 2 we've gotten so far. I'll put it that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think technically it was listed as class 2, but I wouldn't say this is class 2 quite yet.
Yeah. But I guess as the mountain flattens out, it's supposed to get better as you get higher up. We'll see if that's true. I just checked the GPS. About 500 vertical feet from the top, if not less. Maybe half a mile. We did end up hitting some, I'd say, light class 2 stuff, but it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. Now, way down might be a different story for sure, but just passed a group of people who, some of them were frequent summiters of the peak, so they knew what they were doing. And Trey literally ran up there, wanted to get a workout. So more power to him. Nice and exciting, beautiful views up here, beautiful weather. Can't really ask for anything else. You see the view still pretty awesome. Not sure how many people are up there at the top of the mountain other than Trey. Somebody else who was part of that party just came down. But, you know, I didn't mention about my route. So I came from like Veta Pass, and we started via the Cordova Pass campground, which seems to basically be like the main route. I'm not sure if there's a single other route up this peak. I suppose you could maybe start from a different trailhead that connects with this trail, but all you'd really be doing is adding miles and probably elevation gain too to your day. So Cordova Pass is a logical choice. You know, West Spanish Peak is a pretty cool peak, mostly because of its like eastern prominence. I don't know any other way to put it. It's the furthest east 13er in the US, potentially Canada too, if you don't include Greenland. And it's the tallest easterly mountain in the US, meaning that there are no other peaks in the US that are further east, or there are no other peaks in the US that are further east than West Spanish Peak and taller. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. If you look east from West Spanish Peak, the tallest thing in that direction is in Europe. It's getting windy, so I'll probably put my microphone on my camera soon. And we're finally hitting a snowdrift. Alright, I put on my microphone, so hopefully that helps with the wind noise a little bit and doesn't just make it choppy, which sometimes happens when it's really high wind. But you can see that we crested this ridge, have great views to the north, and the peak itself, there's probably Trey up there, peak itself only probably another 100 or 200 vertical feet. My guess would be less than a quarter of a mile. It looks really close. So the final push, you know, I don't want to speak too soon, but I highly doubt this last little bit is terribly difficult. It actually looks far easier than everything we've done. But, you know, my impression, granted, okay, I'm young-ish. I wouldn't say I'm in good shape. I could stand to lose 20 to 30 pounds, but I do exercise fairly often, and obviously I hike a lot when there's not fire danger in New Mexico. But I certainly think the difficulty of this peak has been slightly overstated, at least on the All Trails reports, and even on Peak Bagger too. I did not find this peak to be a very technically difficult peak. Like I said, a handful of barely class 2 sections. Other than that, I mean, maybe loose rock, but not really. The whole route was pretty well marked with cairns. Didn't look at the GPS for route finding purposes a single time, just to look and see what my elevation was. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt. Obviously, your mileage may vary, but yeah, I think the difficulty of this peak is slightly overrated. All right, we've made it to the top. Well, it's probably the top of West Spanish Peak. You see the volcanic dikes, the famous volcanic dikes that kind of like irradiate off from the peak. Is that Greenhorn Mountain over there?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the wet mountains that you're looking at there, and then the top that has a little bit of snow on it.
Yeah.
The tallest there is Greenhorn at basically 12,345.
I take it that's Pikes Peak in the way back.
Yeah, I don't know if that is actually the summit of Pikes Peak that we can just barely see, but to the right is Cheyenne Mountain.
Okay.
That drops down, and that's where the NORAD's at.
Oh, cool. And then you've already seen the rest of this. You can see way out there. Finally remembered, I think that peak dead center, way out there with snow on it, which probably doesn't come through very well on camera, is Conejos Peak in Colorado. And then, like I said, I think that's the Latier group. And then to the right might be Gold Hill, and way behind that, which we can't see. It's probably probably the Wheeler group. It's possible that's the Wheeler group. Not totally sure. And of course, East Spanish Peak, which is the goal for tomorrow. If you don't see an East Spanish Peak video, it means I did not make it.
What was the name of this volcanic stuff down here?
I think they're just, I don't know if they have like a name, but they're like volcanic dikes.
Okay.
Okay, so I am headed over to this hump just to cover my bases. It's not clear from looking at the GPS which is the higher point. I think I read a trip report that said that on either point you're on, the other point looks higher. And this one, what I'm leaving right now has the cairn, so that kind of bestows an air of legitimacy upon it. But yeah, like I said, cover my bases because I don't know when I'll be up here again, if ever. So I want to make sure I'm not missing out on the peak. As you can see, we're back in the beautiful meadow, pretty close to the trailhead with the great view of West Spanish Peak. All in all, I really didn't think it was a bad hike at all. Even the downhill, I thought the downhill would be actually harder than it was. I didn't think it was all, like, yeah, we both probably slipped a couple times, fell on our butts, but it wasn't really that bad. So you have my honest opinion on the peak. Only one way to find out if it's hard or not, and it's to come do it yourself. Anyway, see you guys later. Here we have it. Car broke down. Getting service in Raton.